live in the place to be. It's your favorite cousin's favorite cousin with your girl Didi, and we are just gonna get straight to it. I am sorry, and we are gonna get straight to it. We are gonna talk about the church today, and it's not gonna be in a way that you sing. When people say, "Oh, we're talking about the church," they think we about to come in and do maybe some biblical thesis of the end times, or maybe some biblical dissection of what the church should be. And don't get me wrong, all of those are fine and dandy, but it's some things that is happening in the church.
We ain't doing all that today. This is not Vacation Bible School today.
We got to bring the light. We got to bring to light. And we just got off camera and we was talking about some pet peeves in the church in general. And ultimately, let me start by this before I even just lob it up to you, Didi. But there is things that happens in the church culture that I say that I don't do that. I don't play church. I don't play your 2024 church because it's so opposite as to what it should be. And it's mostly mixed with some type of judgment, some type of, I call it feelings throwing. I need to throw my feelings at you. Some type of situation where things are unfair or things are not going the way that I'm going to. I think it largely happens in part to us living in a consumer culture. And that's probably what breaks my heart the most in the church, is that we come with a consumer. Yeah, we come with a consumer mindset to get. And we have lost the thought process of to give. What you seen in the church today, Didi?
Well, I'm not going to go down a laundry list, but the biggest thing right now, and I think if you have a phone and you have any social media app, it's kind of like and then for those who don't know, when we say the church, we're just talking about the body of Christ at large, not a specific church, not a specific person. But right now, it seems like we just misbehaving right now. It's just a mess. People are talking crazy, justifying it. People are treating each other ugly, justifying it or calling it something else. It's just what's in it for me. And that has trickled down to church leadership conforming to the needs and wants of the quote audience, thinking that it's going to make them happy and stay and fill the seats. And it does for a time.
Yeah.
But that is not what the church is set up to do. The church is set up to be different. It's not to, quench your thirst necessarily with what you think you need. It's for the way God is moving and what he sees that you need that maybe we can't even see.
Right.
As humans. So I just see a lot of like nastiness. I see a lot of worldliness. I see a lot of name calling. But the biggest thing that has been going on for quite some time, a lot more so probably in the last couple of years, is this call out culture, right? This thing where we feel like, when I say we, I just mean people, feel like they have the authority to critique or rebuke or tell somebody else what they're doing wrong, how their salvation is not sure, they're not even saved, you can't do that, God didn't even call you. All of these things that are almost impossible for you to know.
Yeah.
Unless God the Father told you himself, which he rarely does tell you that many things about someone else and not you.
Right.
He don't talk to me about all these people that I do not even know personally.
Yeah. And it's very similar to, when the Bible talks about, like, we try to get that log out. I mean, we try to get that speck out of somebody else's eye, but we got a log in our own. And we constantly sit up here, and I just call it feelings throwing. We are in an age, and let me tell you this. I am not speaking from a point of view of I am currently hurt. This is the state of me. My feelings are hurt. This is what I'm dealing with at my own church. When we say church, we mean the body of Christ on wide. right?
Yeah.
You mean the body
It's
of
not
Christ
personal,
online.
people.
This stuff could be happening where Dee serves, where I serve, where you serve as the viewer. This stuff can be happening in church, and that this call out culture. My first, and I can tell you, we can get on pet peeves or whatever, but my first concern ultimately, that to me is a symptom of a bad heart, is that call out culture. Um, Number one, you go into their half cocked, meaning a lot of times I see situations where people are expressing their feelings about a certain situation, but they don't even have all the aspects of what's going on here. They have made assumptions, they have made thoughts, they have made their feelings have been hurt based on what they perceive things to be. And so the reason why that's so dangerous is because you walk into there saying that you are so definitely offended and nobody else can convince you otherwise, but you don't know the entire story. And so that leads to us not having conversations with each other. Like, A, if it's not our business, it's not our business. I understand that. Like sometimes some people, and I'm just gonna be real, let me call it how it is. Some people just need to stay in their own lane because there are certain things that happen that you really need to check your own heart about. So, for example, let me say we talk about bills or financial help from the church. Let's say I found out that our church paid Dee Dee's mortgage this month. And I'm like, the first thing I think about is, well, the church ain't never paid my mortgage. How
Mm-hmm.
could they dare? They must be having favoritism with Dee Dee. What is going
Mm-hmm.
on? Because I think that is extremely unfair that she the only person that get her mortgage paid. Please,
Mind
if
your
your heart is
business.
going that way, check your heart.
Yeah.
Check your heart.
And that's at the local level. It can be just as petty as they never let me sing my solo. They always ask her. And I've been here since 1982. And they only ask her. And she ain't the only one that can sing. It's stuff like even that dumb, and as dumb as it sounds, it happens. But I'm even talking at a bigger level where I don't even think it's feelings. I literally think it's pride
Yeah.
because people think that you might be good in one area, so that makes you the authority of that area, and
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you can call everyone out. And the reason I say it's pride is because you don't even know these people personally to
Mm-hmm.
have a conversation.
Yes.
You probably saw a post, you probably saw a clip of a clip of a clip, and you took that to say, "See, I knew it. I knew they just be up there singing, and y'all just because they popular, they don't serve God." How do you know?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know them.
Yeah.
Secondly, by you calling them out, to what end? What is the point of you calling them out? What is the goal? Because what it sounds like is you are so tunnel vision on what they're not. You don't want them to become,
Yeah.
because the way that you're talking about this person, let's say they're a popular gospel singer or actor or whatever, or a pastor even that you
Yeah.
don't know. They just
That
have
you
a big
don't know.
platform. They have a big platform, so you've heard their voice. And because they have a big platform, you equate that to be they must be doing something crooked because they no way God gonna give that person that much
Mhm.
influence. So then you calling them out, tell them that they erred on this and they taught this wrong and they shouldn't have been with this person. And look at that picture. They should have been at that concert. They was dancing like this. That wouldn't have, that ain't holy. That ain't this and that. If the point of you calling them out is to turn others away,
Hmm.
why are you doing that? Because the Bible talks about rebuke.
Mm-hmm.
The rebuke is the purpose of that is to call out a behavior
Hmm.
to be redeemed. But if I don't know you and I made a whole YouTube live about you that lasted 3.72 hours,
Mm-hmm.
that is not going to turn the heart of anyone except away.
Yeah.
So you think by you doing that, I'm going to call you, hey man, help me. Like, you want to talk about this? You know, how can, can you lead me and kind of explain that to me what you meant? That is not what I'm going to do if you blast me on the internet for views.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my problem is, why do people are making whole careers out of that kind of, what I don't even know what to call it.
Yeah.
But if there's no redemptive goal, why are you doing it? You are not helping the Lord.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know that.
Yeah, and it's become such a, and it's just sad. Like I have literally like had times where of complete sadness going through this this thought process. And it's become such a spectator sport that that people are not, they feel inclined to speak whatever it is that comes
On
up
anything.
in their mind, but also they don't feel the same inclination to hop in the game and make a difference. They don't feel
Or
the
hop in the
same,
mirror.
or hop in the mirror and look at yourself. And so it's become such a spectator sport. Now, don't get me wrong, I am a Black man living in America. God has blessed me with my scars. He's blessed me with my triumphs. He created me to be raised in the place that I was raised, with all of my testimony. And so, and the reason why I say that is that I come forward with all of that. A dude raised in the hood, a dude understanding and learning cultures later on in his life, a dude sitting up here trying to figure out, okay, what is the truth that I've heard of how this world operates? And what is the truth of God that should permeate all? Like, how do I mix these things? And the bad thing is we approach, and I can do this too, I can be victim of this too. We approach God's kingdom with the world instead of approaching the world with God's kingdom.
Exactly.
And so we allow culture, cancel culture, spectator culture, hater culture. First of all, this is outside of the church in general. I just never understood the fact that people don't want to see people win. That is something that
it's pride.
That's
you can only win under my terms and conditions.
That's a huge issue. Like I can't even. That is the textbook definition of hater. You do not want to see people win. I can't fathom that. Like, so if Dee got her mortgage paid, the first thing I should be saying, hey, praise God. Thank God that she got that need met. But the first thing I think of is,
what about mine?
They ain't never paid my mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yep.
That's a hater.
And that's why I'm saying, instead of people checking what they saw that they didn't like, whether it was a style or a preference, or sometimes it's just someone's swag. Mm-hmm. If it's not about the actual sin itself, then what are we talking about?
What are we talking about?
You know, for example, we argue about church style. Yes. And this is what I mean by that. Traditionally, if you go to certain communities, if you go to the Black community, there is a certain style of church that is had.
Yes.
Generally speaking, it's not every church, but that's generally speaking, because historically, that's just how it was set up. So people develop a style that their parents did, their grandparents did, and it doesn't fit everybody.
Yeah.
At the same time, that style, let's say, is a full band, loud, clapping, dancing, jumping, yelling, all of that stuff. What they call a talkback church. And you know what I'm talking about, right? Kind of like the church that I grew up in.
Yeah.
I mean, every time we got up in there, it was lit and you didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, we had an order, but that don't mean it was going to go in that order.
Oh, exactly.
But that's why, even if we was at church 5 days a week, something was going down. It was never the same way twice. I'll put it like that.
Right.
Now, that can get mixed into a lot of unnecessary traditions. We can all agree to that.
Yeah.
But then what happened was, somewhere along the line, our generation got too smart for our britches, where we started having to feel like we got to be anti everything to prove that we're more intelligent than the generation before us. So then we started shutting down things that were meaningful, and we bunched it all into the non-essential traditions.
Yes.
So then we got a little cocky. Then we start saying stuff like, it don't take all that. And what God revealed to me, unto me, I'm not talking about nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
He said, for some of my people, it did take all that. Because some of my people needed to release some frustration, because when they left the church, they was a nobody. When they came in the church, they actually had some dignity.
Yeah.
They wore their best outfit, not because they was trying to show off, but because the 6 other days they was working for somebody that demeaned them. And they had to wear dirty stuff with holes in it. But on Sunday, that man was somebody. That deacon felt, I'm somebody up in here.
Yeah.
But as soon as I leave, I might get spit on.
Right.
So it did take all of that. So all that jumping and screaming, they needed a release, for real, for real.
Yeah.
They was in there for 4 hours, but if that's what it took, because we safe here.
Yeah, we safe
before
here.
that. Now, times are better for us, right? We can make some choices without somebody telling us where to go, where to sit, where to eat.
Yeah.
It may not take all that for us, but that was deliverance for them.
Yeah.
So sometimes when we so high and mighty that we forgot we only got over because those people had to do all that.
Yeah.
So now we make our new churches with all the lights and all the screens, and we don't talk back. It's silent when the preacher is preaching. If he's preaching, he might just be lecturing. He might just be talking. Hey, everybody, Jesus loves you. Now that congregation, they might need that. But we can't look down on the loud church because they're running around the church excited, shouting, dancing, yelling, because for them, maybe it did take all that.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to make a YouTube video telling a pastor that nobody in his church is saved, because that's all theatrics.
Yeah. Yeah.
That woman might be laid out on the floor because this is her last hope. That ain't theatrics for everybody. Now other people copying, but I've seen some things in my childhood that I know was not fake.
Right.
I've seen, now I'll tell you this. I haven't seen too many deaf people hearing, blind people seeing, crippled people walking in church in a long time, but now it didn't take all that back then.
Right.
Maybe it did.
Right.
So this whole critiquing and trying to tell somebody what they're not because they don't have the same style as you, we got to stop doing that.
Yeah.
And say, Lord, can you help me decipher what's you and discern what's you? Not for the sake of critiquing, but to where I need to go to get fed. Right. Not just because, oh, it's too loud in there, I can't even. Girl, calm down.
It's a couple things that you said that I do want to address. It's like we do live in a world of, we live in an age, an
era
of overcorrection. Like, so it's always this charismatic versus traditional, if you will. And now keep in mind, based on where your upbringing was, traditional may be different from everybody.
100%.
But either way you put it, traditional, the word traditional is trying to signify the legalistic side versus
the old way.
The old way. You got to do it like this, exactly like this, the way that I said it right here.
Yeah.
And the more charismatic side would be, hey, do what you feel like. What is Lord leading you to? Like, be you.
Whatever you want.
It's whatever you want. And so, like, something that I find evident in the gospel in general, especially when Jesus had his ministry and he was addressing the Pharisees, is that things that they came to with legalistic style, he was throwing a wrench in it. Why are you doing it?
Yeah, he asked the question.
Yeah, is it better to do this way? And then the other side that was super charismatic. Hey, why don't you do why? Like, so what that told me was like, no, there is a balance of these things. There is no, hey, let's do it this legalistic way. Let's do it this charismatic way. And the balance that Jesus said in his ministry was always aiming towards, hey, what is your heart about this stuff?
Exactly. What's the point?
What's the point of this stuff? Because it don't even when he talks about tithe and offering, it was like, dude, like, I don't care if you come in and you get $5 million and you think that you are the business, knowing that $5 million didn't do nothing to you.
You didn't feel it.
You didn't feel it at all. You gave $5 million, and your heart for giving it was, I'm about to show them how important I am to this body. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't care if it's $5 million or 5 cents. If that was your heart, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. And so it's like, when have we got to this point where overcorrection happens? So it's like, oh, I don't want to be traditional, so let me be super charismatic.
And you throw it all away. You throw the whole, because not all tradition is bad.
Mm-hmm. Throw it
all.
There's
a balance.
Or the other side, where it's like, oh, super charismatic. You know what? That's terrible. Throw it all away. We're gonna be
right
to the book. Like, that overcorrection is crazy. And so, yeah, I'm sure you even see it on your side. Overcorrection is crazy.
Yeah, because it's more, and I wouldn't even call it correction, because correction has a goal. I think it's just, I want to call you out, because the more you look wrong, the more I look right. I don't even think it's correction, because when you correct someone, you want them to be correct.
Yeah.
If you think they're wrong, you want them to turn around. But if you just want to point out that they're wrong, that's not rebuke or correction. That's just, see, I told you, which is what the Pharisees was trying to do. They were trying to get them caught up.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do with this woman? She was caught in the act. Look at her.
Mm-hmm.
What you going to do, Jesus?
It's a Sunday, but it's a Sunday.
Right. So he wrote in the sand. Jesus, you mean to tell me, ain't this a sin? No, this is a sin. Why would you pull her out as church people? Why did you grab her? Let's not even go to the point that they didn't grab the man. Because if you're in the act of adultery, takes two to tango.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really wanted her to be saved, there was a different method you would have taken. So I think it's less correction and more of, let me just point out how wrong you are so you can't see how wrong I am.
Yeah.
Because I'm less wrong than you.
Yeah.
Instead of let's all be redeemed.
Facts. I'm less wrong than you. That is facts right there. Yeah. Yeah.
It's so dumb, but I see it all the time. And I'm like, this is not a competition.
Yeah.
Because that's why you get mad that somebody else's mortgage got paid. She ain't been here that long serving. What do that got to do with the mortgage?
What that got to do?
At the end of the day, people get saved. Doesn't matter if they came at 5 o'clock service or 11 a.m. service.
Right.
That's how silly that sounds.
Right.
Or I've been in this church serving all my life, and they just got saved last week. Now they a deacon.
Right.
What kind of stuff is that?
Right.
They hear. That's the point. You don't know what God is doing with somebody.
I was a part of a church, and not this church that I'm with now. It was about 2 churches ago. I was growing up. And so this was probably one of my first examples of, the way the church people act. Like, and I've said it 1,000 times on
the way people act.
And so I said it 1,000 times on Set Apart podcast is that if you know my upbringing, like, there's no other word, the hood, that everything that's stereotypical of it, that's where I came from. And so I was learning a new way in a church. And I was just, everything around me at that point in time defined what church meant to me, because I never seen it before. Like,
absolutely,
I don't know what we doing here. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't get this. And so I remember a huge dispute happening. In hindsight, I understand it because I'm older and wiser. But at that time, I was just so confused. I was like, is this how we act? And it was over, it was this woman that was denied multiple times, apparently, more than once. I don't know how many, but more than once, from being on the worship team.
Oh, God.
Now, here's the thing. I knew this lady. Whew. Bible does say make a joyful noise. Okay.
Keyword joyful.
Yeah. Like now, the popular opinion was that maybe it was really hard for her to hold a note. That's a nice way to say it. And so then this person come to the church.
It's always singing.
Who ain't been
there.
Somebody
messed up.
Yeah. Who ain't been. So this girl, the original girl that's been denied, probably been there for about 4 years. This other girl comes to the church. This other woman comes to the church, probably been there for 7 months. and she gets put on the worship team. You know, she auditions, she does the whole nine, you know, whatever the process is, and she gets on there. When I tell you, this woman threw a whole fit, like everything in her threw a whole fit, because they felt, and it wasn't the fact, well, this is what she didn't highlight. She didn't highlight the fact that
she can sing.
She didn't that was oblivious to the whole situation. That was oblivious to the whole situation. But it was the main vein of this narrative was, y'all must be against me.
Oh, absolutely.
Because this situation, y'all must be against me.
Yes. Y'all been plotting against me from day one. It's always that. Y'all never like me. It's always some.
What's up, guys? This is Ren from the Set Apart Podcast. Did you know you can interact with us and continue the conversation via our online forum? That's right. You can email us today at setapartpodcastteam@gmail.com, because this is not just a podcast. This is a movement. We're looking forward to hearing from you.
Now, I don't know what was said behind scenes. You know, I don't know if anybody ever told this girl that she couldn't sing. I don't know if anybody ever told her that, like, hey,
we actually are against your voice.
Like,
we are.
Like, so it's something that I do in my leadership. And this is a motto that I just take. I mean, y'all can take it for whatever y'all do. So I call it a green light. So what I do is I equip small group leaders. I equip some leaders in certain different areas. And I'll say it's not a no, because I don't say no's. I say, you're not ready for this. like whatever it is, you're not ready for this. Now, we can help you get there, because I believe in the God of redemption. We can help you get there. Maybe if you take some singing lessons, maybe if how much you want it, you know what I mean? Maybe you figure out, like, were you born tone deaf? Like, what was going on? Like maybe we can get to the heart of this situation. But one thing that I see in all of those scenarios is that not only is it y'all against me, but when I've seen a path laid out for you to get to your desired goal, there's no work that wants to be put in.
Because they know it's not going to happen. There's no you cannot learn how to sing. I know everybody be trying to say that, but some things you have to have. You can learn how to sing better.
Yes.
But you can't just not have it and then get it. Because you're born with an ear. Now your ear can be trained and fine-tuned, because when it comes to that praise and worship, that is a big distraction. If it ain't you, ma'am, I'm so sorry. So the word is no. From me, the word is no. But let's find. I think you would be better suited over here.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there are some things that are impossible. I know we say with God, all things are possible.
Oh, no.
According to his will.
According to his riches and his glory.
Right, not yours. And when he said make a joyful noise, he was talking about unto him, not unto us.
Yeah.
That was between you and him. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes people try to act like this ain't a real thing. But when singing is off, the Lord is all powerful. Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
But your voice is stiff competition, because I'm a human being with human ears.
The biggest distraction.
And I'm also someone who is really into music. So it's hard for me to overcome that mountain in my way that is your voice.
Yeah.
So some ministries are not come as you are. I'm so sorry.
It's not.
Unless you got a choir and you got a fourth row.
Yeah.
But you can't hold the mic. I wouldn't put a piano player that can't play.
True. Just banging on the keys.
Talk about joyful noise.
Yeah.
Nah.
It's just crazy, and it's just crazy how that always go down. And so when I was growing up, like that was an early experience of this. Is this how we act? Do we flip out when we don't get our way like kids?
Yes.
Now, of course, it changed growing up and understanding that was not the way to carry on. But we have situations where it's like it's immediately we've talked about in terms of relationships before, of the victim stance of y'all against me, and it's a me versus you, and then drawing the line and so on and so forth. But this is, I kind of want to, and of course I'll let you have whatever comments you want to do this, but I kind of have a big question that maybe you won't be able to answer. I know I can't answer this. Maybe it won't get answered, but let's talk about it. Why or what components leads to it being such a spectator sport? And this is why I say this, is because like I am now in a point in my leadership where I'm like seeing numbers, I'm seeing the need, and I'm understanding the need versus what the, you know, the Bible talks about. The labor is plenty, like the labor is plenty. It's plentiful. The workers are few. And so the laborers, where we at though? And so like I'm starting to understand both sides. And like I sit down and I'm mostly a type A thinker where I have to break things down. I'm like, okay, well, that thing needs 6 people in order to work effectively. This thing needs this thing needs this thing needs this. And so when I break it down in my mind, let's hypothetically say it's a church of 150 people. There's a possible 30 spots of volunteer work or serving that needs to be done every Sunday. In my mind, that math is mathing enough to say, oh, well, if we're all in this together, we wouldn't even feel it.
Yeah.
If we're all in this together, we would not feel like there would be no burnout. Like, you kidding me? Like, it's revolving door. We all in this together. Like, we talk about, you know, I know a big thing in a lot of churches is, you know, kids classes. Like, if you serve in the kids class, we only got 3 on a given Sunday. If everybody was all in, you could technically just serve once every 3 months, 4 months. Like in the perfect world. And so those numbers really confuse me, because I'm like, man, how haven't we adopted this mentality of a lot of hands make a light load? Like why haven't we adopted this mentality? And it's not only, and I'm not sitting up here saying, oh, I'm bagging on one church, I'm bagging on 2 churches or something like that. This is a widespread pandemic, if you will, to come to the house of God to be catered to, not to cater. Where do you think, and why? What's the components that add up to that?
Well, first, I would say that a full sanctuary, don't assume a full sanctuary is a full sanctuary. And what I mean by that is, if you see 150 and all of them are full, that does not mean all of them are actually there for the same reason. And I think we have to, the sheer numbers, yes, the math adds up, but not everybody attends church for the same reason. Right. Some people need to get because they've lost hope, which is what we're there for. Some people have been trained to serve. Some people have not. And I think, in a perfect world, everything is functioning like that. It's a business. Yeah. But in a business, you get compensated for what you put in, like clockwork. You know, you get a certain amount. But when it comes to church, I think it's hard to make the spiritual practical and vice versa. And it's hard for people to know the difference. So serving is a heart thing, not a work thing. And sometimes it's a muscle that has to be trained. And sometimes it has to be identified before it's trained, because it's not, some people hear the word serve and they automatically go, always something to do.
You're always asking me something.
Right. So I think it takes a lot. That's why you have to kind of have a vision, but like you have to really be able to discern. If you're in any leadership spot, I'm not even talking about pastor, but if you are somebody that people go to and look to as a leader, because it's something people have to be taught. Think about it. Everywhere else in the world is a give me. What can I get? Every other, I'm only going to work this many hours because I know that's what I'm going to get paid. I'm only going to accept this position because I know what you promised to pay me.
Yeah.
I'm only going to sign this contract for this car because I agreed to the terms and conditions. Only in church can the terms and conditions change, and you got to roll with it. Mostly because your real reward is eternal, and that's hard to hold on to. It's hard to hold on to when you're tired. It's hard to hold on to when you don't get paid in like money. Now you get paid because remember, in Psalms it says, "What shall we render unto God for all His benefits toward us?" So technically, we already got paid in advance. So that's why it's a mindset thing, because this is the only type of service where you have to go in there with what can I give, because my heart is to give back. It's almost like a pay it forward. It's an old movie that explains it very well. It's almost like paying it forward. Somebody was here before I got here. They paid their tithes. They gave their offerings. They gave their time. This church wouldn't exist without those people being here. It's the same thing I was saying earlier about talking down on the previous generations. They did what they had to do so we could be here and choose not to. Yeah. They put in the work so we could have a choice to not, we could do church how we want to have it. We could have church strictly virtual now.
Yeah.
If we wanted to. But I think service has to be recommunicated. It's not slavery. It's just serving. It's just helping. It's just volunteering. So it's, I think, when it goes back to why did it become such a spectator sport? Because it's easy to point out something that we don't like, because that's what we do as people. Let me protect myself from what I don't like, so I must call it what it is, or they need to do this better. They need to do that. It's easy to do that when it's not you.
Yeah.
Because you can see a whole lot. I can see the offense and the defense when I'm not on the field.
Yeah.
I know exactly. Oh, I can draw the little white line they be drawing, because I'm not down there looking at them face to face. So I can see. How come he didn't see that guy right there? Because it was a total of 2 tons running at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that from my couch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could tell so they should retire. Forget all that. Excuse you.
Yeah. Excuse you.
What? It's easy. It's too easy. So when something is that easy to point out, we kind of got to slow. Oh, okay. Now, if it was me, I probably would have did this, but it's not me. So I'm either going to make suggestions, which that's tricky too. That's slippery slope.
Right.
Or let me go in and see like what it's really like on the inside of this. We talk about church volunteering. So for example, with music, like you brought up, if maybe those microphones sound like you like this. Since I recognize that because of my experience, maybe I can like say, hey, have you guys considered something like this? But we don't have the budget. Okay, well, I might be able to find something that's like secondhand. Maybe we could try this, or maybe they don't even know that that's what they need. Maybe they can work toward it.
Yeah.
Or can you consider turning these lights because it's kind of hard to see instead of being like they always trying to be extra fancy. Just offer suggestion. Boom. That's your service. I'll be willing to help. I'll be willing to put in an extra to get this for the church.
Right.
This toilet paper sucks. It's 1 ply. Well, I'd be willing to look into some better options. Nobody wants to say anything, but it is kind of not the best quality. So I'll be willing to go look at the industrial catalog or whatever and see if there's some options that we could work toward affording, stuff like that. Instead of like, oh, they're going to make me sweep the parking lot. I don't want to volunteer. They might have me up there putting in light bulbs.
Yeah.
And what if they do? Is that the worst thing? But that's, people think serving and they automatically like, they always asking for something.
Yeah.
But you see everything that's wrong. Come closer.
Yeah. And it's such a dream to want to see people really own the vision of wherever you are, like I used to let me tell you a lie that I believed once upon a time, and I learned about this recently. A lie that I believed is that um I knew there was a certain thing in terms of giving and tithing and offering and all this other stuff. I knew that was a thing, but then I thought what I gave in my time I didn't have to give in my finances, or
That's
vice
right.
versa. What I give in
Mhm.
my finances, I don't have to give in my time. And so, once again, we got this
Yeah.
two different sides of the spectrum, and we're going towards one and kind of disregarding the other. Now, do people do it willingly and on purposefully? Yes, I know people who do it willingly and on purposely. Now, it may be because, Father, forgive them because they know not what they do. So, yes, it
Mhm.
is some of us not having the knowledge of, once again, it's the balance of it, it's the heart of it. Um, but then in the other terms, people have like me, like people, now I'm people, hey, me,
Mhm.
up until a couple years ago, people have just solidified themselves on, yeah, like I know that both are asked of me, I choose one. And then I'm telling myself at the end of the day, well, at least
I did
I'm
good.
doing this.
Mhm.
At least I'm doing this. And so what I would encourage people to do, any listener that's listening, is like get involved in your local body some way, somehow. Like give a little bit of your time. I understand that people are stressed out here in 2024. People have jobs, people have families, people have priorities. But what I'm telling you is a little bit goes a long way. And when we talk about church, we talk about a body of believers doing life together. And do not, um, and this may be just a me thing. I do not want to just miss opportunities to love on people, miss opportunities to serve where God has also even made me equipped to do so. Like, hey, like I love it when I got a couple people in the church that come to me specifically for things. Why? Because they know that I do this stuff. They know that I'm good at
Right.
this. They know that I'm such and such like this. Like, yes, that's doing life together. Like, I can't paint. I'm really good friends with a painter. Like, I can't do carpentry. I'm really good friends with a carpenter. But like
Mhm.
these things happen, and it's like, man, I want to. I encourage people, everybody who's listening to my voice, whether you're listening via audio or video, get involved. Understand that there is a balance between giving of your time, giving of your finances, but get involved because what we do with our time, what we do with our finances is for the furtherance of the kingdom.
Mhm.
Look at me when I tell you this. What we do with our finances and our time is for the furtherance of the kingdom. It does not matter what city you are located in. It does not matter what continent you are located in. I pray right now that we just get up and stop being spectators of the sport, but we can actually get in and dive in, because I would love to see. I'll never stop. I'll never stop wanting this. I would love to see a church of whatever your number is, 50, 60, 70, 80, the closest thing we can get to 100% participation, if not 100%. I would love to see um, a body just dedicate themselves to that and really see what can God do through that. What can
Mhm.
God do through that dedication? What can God do through that discipline, that ableness, that heart of use me? I know He can do tremendous things, and I'm just encouraging y'all to do that right now. Don't be a spectator. Get off the sidelines. Get in the game, because it's way harder. And what you notice is when you do get in the game, it's way harder to pass judgment about those little things. And we ain't
Yep.
talking about the mortgage because you're in community. You know how much Didi was hurting. Why wouldn't you want Didi to win? Matter of fact, you know what? Church, don't cover all of that. Let me give something to it. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
you are wanting people to win. That is the difference of a spectator mindset and somebody who's actually in the game.
Yeah, and the point is to because we're talking about it from our point of view, which is we're both in some kind of leadership-ish position. So we kind of see things from that direction. But I would encourage you to, how about get anchored in a ministry and get to know people. And if you're somebody that's reserved, just get somewhere where you're getting consistent, you're being fed consistently.
Yeah.
Meaning you're there, you're not listening to 75 other pastors. Not that they're wrong, but it's healthier to be fed from the same kitchen each time because it's consistent. You can follow along with the progression of what's being talked about. You can learn that particular church's like culture. You get to meet people, you connect with people outside of service, and that helps too, because it's hard to serve people you don't love.
Yeah.
And it's hard to just get involved if you're new to church. If you're concerned about style, you're trying to find the right style, you're trying to find the right church culture, all of that stuff. Just connect with people. Just go. Just attend and consistently get to know people. And then you'll be surprised. Somebody might just invite you out to eat or whatever. It might be in conversation in a parking lot. You might have some kind of gifts and talents that become discovered. And then serving don't feel like serving. It's just what you do. It's just who you are. Work don't feel like work. Now, is it hard at times? Absolutely. Does it require a sacrifice? Absolutely. But if that's where you're gifted in, maybe you're the answer to their prayer.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking about they always need something, yeah, they need you. Yeah. Maybe they've been praying for years for somebody that can fix that dumb microphone sound that they can't figure out. Yeah. And you walk in, it's you.
It's you.
You ever think about like, and I'm talking to myself when I say you, I'm talking to myself as well. Think about how you going somewhere is an answer to someone else's prayer instead of thinking about it like, oh, here we go again. It's always this church stuff. Maybe you're the thing that's going to turn it around. By just a simple word to somebody that gets passed around. Oh, have y'all thought about this? Who came up with that? We've been trying to figure it. She did over there. Hey, come here. So will there be haters? Yes. Anytime there's elevation.
Yeah.
But the point is, if we can make this better, then we get more in. That's the point, that people get saved. Not because people need your money. God don't need our money. But we got to keep the doors open and pay the bills.
Right.
That's the point. So somebody paid the bills for you to come in. So pay it forward. Give your part. Do your part so that this is here when you go. And some more people can come in and be saved. That's the real point. So back to our original thing about us calling each other out and calling ourselves, well, the Bible says we should correct those and hold accountable. It's hard to hold somebody accountable that you don't have a relationship with. Because how they gonna listen to you? They don't know you.
Yeah.
You just saw them on the internet.
Yeah.
That's like somebody, a stranger trying to discipline my son at the mall. How?
Yeah, what?
Boy, I done told you. He like, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
That's what those people are saying to you. You make a whole YouTube channel about me and I've never spoken to you in my life.
Yeah.
So you can't hold me accountable if you don't have a relationship with me. You calling me out and it's not correction if there's no redemptive power in it. Because you're not trying to correct anything. You're just trying to tell me how wrong I am.
Right.
So we got to stop. We got to stop all this. And the bottom line of it all is be humble.
Yeah.
Because it's all pride based. And that's a fight that we got to fight every day. To put ourselves down. And when I say down, I don't mean down yourself. I mean, stop thinking that you're above everybody else and better than everybody else.
Right.
The real definition of humility is you're telling the truth about reality. So if you ain't all that, stop saying you are.
Right. I'm pretty sure that we'll see a lot of things. We can approach situations more equipped if we realize that it could be user error in this. It could be user error in this. But no, that's real. It's a lot of culture. We can go on and on and on and on. It's a lot of culture things in terms of the church. One thing this year, as we talk about just things that I want to accomplish, I always got goals. It's always something that's going on. One thing I want to accomplish this year in general is just being more risky. And what I mean by that is that like we can operate our lives 100% in the comfort zone. We can operate our lives 100% in just what's comfortable for us. I mean, even here on the Set Apart podcast, we can operate things with what's comfortable for us in terms of topics, in terms of conversations, in terms of, the different people we bring on. And we've been blessed, especially last year, with the people who we got a chance to converse with on a podcast, but really being like going out there and saying, hey, we gonna invite somebody that's totally different from us here on the podcast just to learn from them and what they experience. We've said constantly here on the Set Apart podcast that we are not the end all be all or final word on this. We do this to open up a conversation and have some good, nice, hopefully growth filled conversation. And I just want to go for it. I don't want to be, and that's in every single aspect of my life, whether it's my finances, whether it's in terms of things that I want to grow in. Well, I'm going for it. That's a goal. What's a goal for you, Didi?
I have a lot of goals, some that I'm not going to share just yet, but this year is about faith. So I've already kind of started in and it's not the same faith that I thought I knew all this time up until now, but it's more like faith that actually gonna cost me something. So like buying things that haven't buying things to prepare for things that haven't come yet.
Yeah.
So like it might sound real crazy, it might look a little crazy, but by faith, if this is where I want to be, I'll be ready when the call comes. I'll be ready when the knock happens. When I get that email, oh, say less. I'm already ready. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
The funds have been saved. It's already there. So it ain't no like, oh, I can't. No, I'm ready. Because I'm expecting some invitations. I'm expecting some calls. Like literally expecting. So if it's a number that I don't recognize, I'm like, oh, that might be it.
Right.
Like spending money that's out of my budget that I planned for, because he said by faith.
By faith.
You either gonna believe me or you ain't. So it might seem radical to some, but if I told you this is what I'm gonna do, then I need you to be ready because you don't know when I'm gonna do it.
Be ready in and out of season.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, I wouldn't call it a goal. And I'm also a type of person where I'm kind of more on with the New Year's resolution stuff. I believe your New Year starts on your birthday, not January 1st. So I kind of start thinking through like, yeah, it's a new year for me when my birthday showed up. So what's this year of life going to look like? What would I like to see? Where would I like to go? I wrote down on a piece of paper, what do I actually want? Not just what do I think people think I should want? What are they telling me I should want? But what do I actually want? Right. So how do I get there? I got to be ready. So I'll be specific with this part, whole wardrobe change. I got to dress where I'm going. Yeah. Everything changed. I mean, purses, all of it, new. The whole thing.
That's good.
For where you going? That's all right. Good. Well, when they call me, I'm ready. Bags packed.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Well, you need a dress for this kind of event. Done. Next.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm on. Yeah. And I did want to read this one scripture that talked about the main thing of our conversation about correcting, quote unquote. You didn't have to single me out, but okay.
Go ahead.
This is Galatians 6. I mean, the whole thing is good, but this is what we've been studying recently. But it's verse 1-3. And I'm going to read the NLT because it's just easier to understand for everybody. It says, dear brothers and sisters, if another believer is overcome by some sin, you who are godly should gently and humbly help that person back onto the right path. And be careful not to fall into the same temptation yourself.
Hmm.
Share each other's burdens, and in this way, obey the law of Christ. If you think you are too important to help someone, you are fooling yourself. You are not that important. So, if I'm making a YouTube video or an Instagram live or whatever the case might be, and I say that I'm calling out some singer or bishop or whoever, but I'm not praying for them, but I'm not hoping that someone that they know can help them back, or maybe I'm not even calling out any sin, just a style that I don't like. If you think you're godly in doing this, you should gently and humbly help that person back onto the right path, and be careful not to fall into the same temptation yourself. Share their burdens. So I don't know what we talk about then.
Yeah. This has been another installment of Set Apart Podcast for the church. Let's rise up. Let's get it done. Dee Dee, what do you got to say to the people?
I just hope that everybody bought a new set of drawers for this new year. And I'm praying that you cleaned your ceiling fan blades and all the things. Yeah, and I also want to remind everybody that I know, pandemic hit late 2019 on into 2020. It was kind of crazy. And we had to listen to health experts on the news to tell us to wash our hands. And I don't understand why that wasn't a common practice. But it seems that it has gone back to being uncommon. And I want us to remember that washing your hands is a part of life, okay?
Yeah.
If I'm next to you in traffic at your big age and you are digging in your nose, I can only pray that I don't see you at the gas station on the pump that I'm waiting for, after you just went from sea to shining sea up your nose and never use hand sanitizer. Wash your hands. I pray that you don't go to work typing on somebody's keyboard. I pray that you're not touching every doorknob, the shopping cart, all that stuff. But I know you are. But I pray that somewhere along the way, you get back to washing your hands. And to the females at these public places, you just come right out the stall, right out the door. I see you. That is nasty. I'm not gonna say my coworker's name because we don't work in the office no more. But we saw you, ma'am.
Hey, this is your girl Dee Dee from Set Apart with Ren and Dee Dee. Thank you so much for tuning in to this latest installment. Don't forget to subscribe to wherever you listen to podcasts.